Hi everybody! I hope everyone had a happy Easter, and I'm sorry there wasn't any videos released over the Easter holidays, but it's pretty hard to film when all the family are at home because I have to take over the table and everybody else needs to use it when they're at home. So yeah, that's why. And plus it was nice to have a bit of a break anyway. Today I'm back and I'm going to be showing you today how I use collage paper in my art, scrapbooking paper as paper collage. I have touched on it on a couple of my other kind of colour along videos and stuff, but somebody suggested maybe it should be its own video, so here we go. And I'm going to show you on this picture here, and it doesn't really fit in with my theme of Earth Day, but this is a challenge for one of the colouring groups that I'm in on Facebook, the Colour It In Challenges group, which I will link in the description below. And the challenge is there's 4 kind of freebie pictures to choose from. This is the one I chose. This is by Christine Karen, and I will link that down in the description as well. And you have to colour it in the colours of a traffic light, so like red, yellowy, orange and green. So that's what I've been doing, and I've coloured all the rest of it with a marker base. There you go, she has a marker base and just my usual Castle Arts Arteza pencil shading, bit of white gel pen, and I've left her top there because that's what I'm going to show you how to collage today. I found some papers that are the right colours and we're going to go with that. But first of all, I'll show you the kind of paper that I do use for my collaging. In my colouring, I do have quite a few, ranging from little kind of paper books like these. This one I got quite recently from B&M in the UK, so if anyone's watching they want to go and grab some of those, they're £2 each. Little books like these, just lots of different patterns of paper that you can use as collage in your colouring if you so desire. That's another one. This one is a really old one. It's falling apart. It's well used, as you can see, that one. But yeah, ranging from those, I have the bigger ones to the bigger ones like these, which I picked these up in a charity shop, so I'm not entirely sure where to get these from if you were buying them today. But yeah, that's the kind of thing. And you could even use things like wrapping paper. That's one I picked up because I quite like the pattern on that one. Or things like, that's just an envelope we had a Christmas card in. But I thought the pattern was really nice and I thought I'd keep that to maybe use that as collage somewhere down the line. So yeah, anything like that, even bits of packaging, stuff like that you might be able to use. Keep it if you like the pattern, you may be able to find a use for it at some point. And the ones I've chose to go with today are from this book. Ooh, I need to zoom this out. From this book, the Homemaker Paper Collection. And I thought I'd use this one for the little bow around her neck. And she was giving me quite vintage vibes for some reason. Maybe it's the colours I chose to use, I don't know. But I thought maybe this pattern we could put onto her shirt because that's red, orange, green. So that would fit in quite nicely. So I'm going to start with her bow, and I'm going to show you both the ways that I use the collage paper in my design. I thought this would work quite well with the 2 separate parts there we could use. And the first one I'm going to use on her bow, and that would be tracing out this shape and using that to cut out the collage paper to stick on top. That's what I'm going to do that. And for her top, I'm going to cut out the actual shape of her top there and stick the paper underneath behind it. And once you've done either of those things, you can shade on top. As long as the paper is acceptable for shading, as long as it's not too shiny, you can do that. So yeah, just be careful if you do want to shade once you've put the collage in, then yeah, you need to be sure that the paper will accept it. But anyway, starting with our bow, how we would do that is, first of all, we trace off the shape. So here we go. Okay, there you go. You can see that I've traced off the shape of the bow there and added in a few of the little details. These little details like where the bow comes, a couple of little lines there, because when I go on top to do my shading, that will show me where my shading is going to go. And to transfer this onto the red kind of checked paper, what we do is we turn it over. And I'm just putting it on top of a piece of scrap paper because the lines will transfer to whatever's behind it. So you want to put some scrap paper behind it unless you're really not bothered about the surface that you're tracing on top of. And then we go over the lines. As it's tracing paper, we can see the lines through it. So we go over the lines with a pencil. And this is a mechanical pencil, but any pencil, any normal HB pencil from your junk drawer would do. And we go over the lines on the back. And it doesn't have to be neat because we're just going to be using these lines to transfer the bow, the outline of the bow onto our red checkered paper. Okay, so now we've gone over all the lines on the back. What we do is we turn the tracing back the right way round. We place it on top of the paper that we're wanting to use for collage. This red checkered paper here is wanted to do her bow. And then if you like, you can use like washi tape or some sort of masking tape to stick it down to make sure that it doesn't move. But if it's just a little area like this, you should be really okay anyway. And we go over these lines again. Okay, hopefully you can see there. If I bring it in a little bit closer, the lines have transferred onto the paper that we're going to use. So what I'm going to do now is go over these lines with a black fine liner, with the Unipin fine liner. This is 0.2. I'm just going to go over those lines with the fine liner so then we can cut it out and stick it on. I'm going to put some scrap paper underneath there just in case the fine liner bleeds through. There we go. Okay, now just to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to try and shade this while it's actually, before it's cut out, while it's still actually in the book, because once you've put it onto your paper, it's going to be glued. You're going to have to wait for the glue to dry before you do anything with it if you want to shade after that. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of shading now. Just with, this is Cast Lots, this is Cool Grey. Because we're allowed to use a grey and black and white as well as the traffic light colours. So I'm just using this grey to add a little bit of shading into it. And of course my polychrome is black and white, which are now running out. I need to get some more. White is not showing up terribly well, so I'll go put in my usual white pen, white gel pen highlights on top of that. Alright, so that's just really quickly shaded there, just to show you how this technique works. And what I'll do now is take away this scrap paper and put this cutting mat underneath it. You don't have to use a cutting mat in a craft knife. You could even use scissors, or you could just put a piece of cardboard behind it just to stop cutting into the surface you're resting on. And also I could have like moved these bits closer in together to be less wasteful with the paper, but just for quickness again and to show you how it works, I've just drawn it exactly as it is on the page. So just quickly take it out of the book so that we can get rid of that. And then we cut out these pieces. Now this method is a lot less accurate than the other method, but the good part of it is that you can use it on pages that are double-sided because you're not actually cutting into your page if you're doing it this way. But yeah, obviously because you're tracing and moving the lines onto another piece of paper, there's a lot of margin for error. So usually you can cover them up by shading, black pen, white pen, but yeah, there's a lot more steps involved, so it's a lot easier to be making mistakes. Okay, we have all our pieces cut out there. So now all we have to do is stick them onto our actual page. And what I usually use is just a glue stick. This is Yoo-hoo glue stick. But yeah, Pritt stick, any other kind, doesn't really matter. There we go, we bring in the scrap paper. We take our first little bit of a bow. Make sure we glue all over the back of it so that the areas the whole thing will stick down. Move the scrap paper, bring in our image. Go. We have lost a line there around the edge, so you can go back in with your black line liner, add that back in. And as I said, this method is pretty inaccurate, so we have got a little bit of the bow there that was supposed to be red, but we did make a little bit of a mistake. That's not really going to matter because what I'm going to do with this top is cut it out anyway. So, but yeah, that's just showing you that yeah, it is pretty inaccurate to do it like this. But again, you can do it on double-sided pages, so swings and roundabouts. That one's not fitted too badly. There we go, we'll just fill in that little gap we had going there with a bit of shading. Perfect. Okay. Okay, a little bit of white gel pen, a little bit of shading, and we've blended that in. And our last little bit. There we go. Just need a little bit there where we'll be going behind her hand. And there we are. That's how we would go about tracing the lines, cutting it out of the actual paper that we want to collage. Now, the other way is to cut out the shape that you want to collage, take that out and put the paper behind it. So this is what we're going to do for the rest of her top. And this is why this kind of little error we had going on here, that's not really going to matter because we're going to cut the paper out anyway. And doing this, yeah, it really does help if you have the craft knife and the cutting mat or the card behind there. Because doing this with scissors, yeah, that would be a little bit difficult, I would imagine. And you do have to be pretty brave. If it's a colouring book, you have to be pretty brave to just take a craft knife to the pages. But I think the result's worth it. And yeah, never be scared. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's how you learn. And sometimes you make a mistake and it turns out even better than you planned it to be. So yeah, just go for it. And as this is a freebie picture anyway, you can just print out another one. So there you go. Mistakes gone. Okay, so you can see there we've cut out the shape of a top. I've cut out a piece of the green pattern paper there because obviously we're not going to use the whole sheet. And we're going to stick that behind there. And my patterns do clash a little bit, I think, but I think that's quite fun. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. And how we'd get that to work is we glue the back of our page and we make sure we glue all the areas around the edges, just to make sure that that will all be sticking down. Make sure we go right around the edges there. And with our pattern page, we glue around this edge because we're going to want this to be sticking to the colouring page. So we have to go around this edge. And then we just place our colouring page. Place our colouring page down onto the scrapbook paper. To get all those edges to stick down, you can take a clean piece of scrap paper and just press it lightly and rub over all the areas just to be sure it's all sticking down how you want it to. There we go. And then again, like with the collage we did on top, you can shade. Use white gel pen, use your pencils. I think we did have stitches along those edges, right? So let's add those in. of shading. I'll bring in the cool grey again. And this bow will be making a shadow. Give a bit of drop shadow here to show that that piece of ribbon is actually raised from the top behind her. Okay, there we go. I'm going to be leaving it there, I think, and calling it done. Those are the two methods that I use for using paper collage in my colouring. It's a good way for adding patterns into quite large plain areas, I think. Yeah, as I said, this method of tracing the lines and cutting the paper out, that's a lot less accurate than actually cutting the piece out of your paper, but there's pros and cons. You can use this one in double-sided books, and unless you're really not bothered about what's on the back of your page, then this one, yeah, I wouldn't use it in a double-sided book unless you really didn't care what was on the back. But yeah, both methods have their place, and I like to use both of them. And this one is a PDF, so I could show you both of them. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Hope you enjoyed watching. Take care, everyone. See you in future videos. Bye.